Let's talk about levels once again. Let's add them to the indicators just the way we added them to the trends. So let's go to the screen. Let's begin with the MACD. And I think I've showed you this example before. Here is a bottom wave, here's a bottom wave, and here we have two correlating bottom waves as well. As we can see, this bottom wave is lower than the previous one, and in the MACD, this bottom wave is higher than the previous one. So the readings of the price and MACD are diverging. So they're showing different shapes. So this is a divergency. And let's say that we see this divergency wave, so the one that is diverging the whole thing. And let's imagine that we would have believed in this trend weakness and we would have entered somewhere around this area into climbing prices. Let's just mark it for the sake of the argument that we would have entered, I don't know, for example, here. Now, how can we use levels to actually help us in terms of a visual guidance and show us that our decision was incorrect? What I like to do is I'd like to take the bottom of the wave, and we can either mark it like this, or we can go crazy and mark the bottom tail, which is a little bit extreme since it's a long tail, but it could be okay as well. Now, if we were to enter around this position here, if we were to believe in this divergency, then this level here would be the first level, which would indicate that the trend down still continues and that we should perhaps leave our trade. And of course, the same thing goes for confirming our decision. And this one, I personally would mark this level. Let me make it longer so that we can see the point where it actually confirmed our decision. So if we were to enter around here, if we believed in the divergency, passing of this level, of the level that was created by the previous top wave right here. So when we go higher than the previous wave, we will confirm that our decision was correct and the trend is really turning into a climbing one. And so as you can see here, we did go higher than the previous wave, and here we passed the previous peak as well, the previous top wave. However, this level is only relevant when we have just entered. Let's say if we are around, let me move it. Let's say if we are around this position, or let's say this one, then we have formed another level. And this one is going to be the top of this wave, because this wave has been created and it also creates a level. And if we are in climbing prices from this position, then this is the next level that it is becoming relevant. And perhaps we could even delete this one, but we can keep it to have an extra confirmation. So, as we have created this wave, it also creates this support level, which we need to pass to be able to confirm that the trend direction has shifted. And as we can see, we do pass it right here. So the entry was around here. If we believed in the divergency, our first level at which we would have no longer trusted our decision and perhaps left the trade. And this was the first level, and then later this one was created simply by this wave right here. And as you can see, we pass it later. And one more interesting observation, this resistance level that was created by this wave right here also became a support level here. We tried to break it here, but we couldn't. And then we stood right on the level, and that is when we gathered our power to punch through even the next level. But this is a little bit more complex, and we'll be talking about it in later chapters. Now let's move to the stochastic. So here we have a few great examples of the stochastic structures that we are going to be looking for. Now this is a little bit jumping ahead, but I'll show you a few structures that are in this chart right here, and so that you have a clue of what we are going to be looking for very soon. As we can see here that we had quite a slow market, and now around from this position we had a powerful trend up. But in stochastic, what we are looking for are diverging peaks. So let's say we have a peak down right here and a peak down right here, but this peak is higher than the previous one. This peak is around the neutral zone, as we spoke about before, and this is the type of hook, I call these hooks, that we are looking for. However, we are looking for a hook that is at least going into the 80 zone or the 20 zone. So this one right here would be the type of the hook that I am looking for usually in the stochastic structures. This is a very simple structure, but this is going to be the core structure. So I would like to first introduce you to this simple stochastic structure. So this is the first hook that could interest me potentially, but then the next one is the one that I'm going to be looking at, because it has gone into the 80 zone, going down, and now going back up again. And this is the type of stochastic structure that I like to see. One hook, second hook. And of course, it will be used in a combination with MACD, and there are many, many rules that we'll be covering in the next chapter. But for now, this is all you need to see. Now, as for the levels, so let's say we believed this hook right here, and we wanted to enter into climbing. Our entry would have been at the beginning of this candle. Yes, that's correct. So where would our level be at which we would no longer believe our decision of going into climbing or going into a long position? The previous bottom wave will be our level at which we would no longer trust our decision. I know that it is quite a small wave, but it's there. And this is gonna be, if we enter in this precise point right here, I would personally use this level, passing of which would indicate to me that our decision was incorrect. Now you could use this bottom wave if you wanted to give yourself a little bit more room, because this is quite a short limitation, and there are situations where you don't really want to limit yourself too much. But jumping a little bit ahead, I can tell you that in this situation that I see with a naked eye, I would like to have a short limitation, which is a stop. So my stop would be at this level, but stops we will talk about later. Now, if you wanted, as I've mentioned before, you could use this level as your limitation. So if the price would have gone lower than either of these two levels, you must leave the trade. So that means that the trend might be going back down and our prediction was incorrect. So this is how I want you to understand how to use levels, simple levels, very simple levels, for the purposes of seeing market movement easier, for just your visual comfort. Now, as for the confirmation of our decision, we can take this peak right here, because this is also a very, very tiny but a top wave. And if we go higher than the maximum of this small wave, then we made a correct decision. And in this way, it confirms the potential for climbing. Now, if we were to enter in this precise point right here, as you can see, we have a very, very small channel. And if we break this channel upwards, that is good for us. If we break this channel downwards, this is bad for us, and this is where we'll leave our trade. Now the same goes for this brilliant structure right here. As you can see, I'm talking about this whole piece right here. And now this is the correlating piece in stochastic. Now watch what happens. We have this powerful peak right here. The next peak is this one. Then we have this one, then we have this one, and then we have finally this one. And do you see what is happening? This peak is lower than this one. This one is lower than the previous one. This one is lower than the previous one. And this one finally is lower than all of them. And this is also the kind of a structure that I love to see in stochastic. I call it the stairs. I love seeing stairs in stochastic. Stair down, a stair down, stair down, and a stair down. And now by this, actually you could use maybe this one or that one or this one, or you could use the last one. And let's, for the sake of the example, imagine that we were to believe this last stair down in the combination with all of these stairs going down, and we would have entered into falling here. Where would be our levels? The first level would be this one, because this is the closest top peak, passing of which would indicate that our decision for falling was incorrect and that we must leave the trade and that the previous climbing trend might actually continue. Now, as for the confirmation of our decision, we can use this level right here, the previous bottom wave. And the passing of this level will confirm the direction change of the trend. Now, this is, for the time being, all you need to know in terms of how to use simple levels with indicators, both with MACD and stochastic. Now, as a small reminder, these are only basic signal types in both MACD and stochastic. There are many, many more structures that I'm going to be teaching you that you must be looking out for and that actually count as signals. Right now, we are just using some simple examples for you to understand the combination of indicators and levels and how to use a level in a simple way of either confirming or not confirming your entry decision. All right, good luck on the test and enjoy your homework. I'll see you in the next lesson.